And we could still finish the job.
Hi everyone, it's part 5 of the 9 Days of Devastation, a deep dive into the Combiner Wars Devastator and Perfect Effect upgrades. The San Diego Comic-Con and Unite Warriors versions are available on Big Bad Toy Store, my favorite online place to get 360 swag, as well as the Perfect Effect upgrades. Today we'll be taking a look at the Constructicon Bulldozer.
BONECRUSHER!
And bull is a great word to describe this brute. He may be an artist with steel and concrete like his chartreuse brothers, but the purpose of his creativity isn't enlightenment.
When this device is ready, it'll wreck those Autobots good, long haul!
BONECRUSHER forms Devastator's other arm, and like Scavenger, his gun becomes the giant's fist. Clever how they have the handle for the gun fold back into the back of Devastator's hand. Some of the Combiner giants can look a bit Frankensteinish with how different all of the components are shaped. So it's nice that with Devastator, the cons that form his arms are fairly similar in look, size, and build. The legs are very similar, but unfortunately, when it comes to how they attach at the hips, BONECRUSHER is vastly inferior.
Who are you calling inferior?
I'm looking right at you, Big Daddy. Scavenger's hips are pretty secure, but BONECRUSHER has this lower waist that just won't clip together. There's a peg and hole on these black parts that hold the legs that should fit together, but it doesn't fit snugly. And these green clips should hold together too, but they just don't clip together. Not on mine anyway. The design is great, but it's just not working like it's supposed to. I don't know if I got a defective one or if they're all like this, but it's the biggest flaw I've seen on these Combiner Wars Constructicons. But you know me, always trying to find the bright side. So I guess you could use him as a quick switch figure instead. He's got the same stature if you pull the legs apart. As for articulation, his leg bends forward at the hip, a lot. More than his brothers in fact. And a good knee bend. This is a really deep kick pose. Kinda reminds me of King Leonidas from 300, when he kicked that guy into the pit.
This is Cybertron!
Same great ankle pivot as the others, and lots of range in his hips. He can do the same super splits as Scavenger, thanks to those clips that won't hold. The legs swivel out at the hip ever so slightly. No waist twist. Pretty good shoulder range. Not as much as some of the others since it just stops at a 90-degree angle. And not much across chest reaching because of the bulky shovel on the chest. Elbow bend is great. You can collapse them all the way, in fact. And twist for punching power. Head moves left and right, down just a bit, and barely up. He's not one to have his head in the clouds.
Don't get drippy!
Even though he's supposed to be a tough, bulky bulldozer, he's got some pretty good range for dynamic poses like the other Combiner Wars Constructicons, and more range than a lot of official and third-party Masterpiece Transformers. You could fold this cab part down, but I prefer how it looks having it up. And here's a little past meets present. He's very similar in design to his G1 self, from the front at least. The new version has Devastator's arm tucked away on his back, while the original version had the arm attachment be a removable piece. Like the others, he carries over some small chest details. I like how he retained his silver arms, although chrome like on the original would have been better. And the new head is nothing like the old head. They decided to go more toon accurate this time. Wise choice. But all in all, I'm glad they carried over so many little details from the originals. The G1 Transformers still have a lot of charm to them, and should not be so easily dismissed when designing the new incarnations of these classic characters.
Hey, we're not scrap iron yet!
Not by a long shot. Like the others, he's a bit bigger than an Autobot car, but smaller than the Autobot trucks. He's a bit smaller than a Decepticon Seeker, but can make much more impact than the tiny Deceps, like Soundwave's cassette minions. Okay, time to figure out how to transform this guy. So I'll start with the feet. This one is pretty tight, so let's try the other half first. Ah, that works. And the other side. Now we collapse the legs at the knee joint like on Scavenger. Let's pull this lower waist piece completely apart. And now what? This looks a bit more complicated than Scavenger. Let's do something with the shovel. Pull this down. The head can't go anywhere yet. Let's see. Let's try to fold these arms up, and maybe these shoulders swing back? Flip this around. Flip this back. Yeah, this is a bit trickier than the others. A real puzzler. Ah, I see a gap here at his neck. I bet this pulls apart. Yep, that makes sense. Now the head can fold in here. Which way though? This way? Nope, it's not going in all the way. Other way then? That's nice and flat. And we fold the cab down. I don't like hinges like this. I get that they're very useful for these types of transformations, but it just reminds me of Bad Cube War Dog. So this must collapse down somehow. First we'll move these arms back, and they peg together here. And here as well. Push that together nice and tight. Can't do anything with the shovel yet. Let's try to fit these pegs in here. It won't go. Looks like it should fit, but it doesn't. Ah, it's because of the head. The chin is sticking out. Let's try it the other way again. Well, that's weird. This time it fits flat. Must have gotten caught on something last time. And this closes up nice and flat this time. This Devastator arm piece just goes under here. This peg fits into this hole, so it's hidden under the bulldozer. And I like when these treads have a peg to plug in, so you know where they're supposed to stay. It makes blind transformations like this one possible. And same on the other side. And now, this looks like it should lay flat. That piece in there should clip in. Ah, they have to connect right here at the front of the treads. And that makes everything fit together in here. And there you have bulldozer mode. And it actually rolls thanks to the single wheel in the back and two tiny wheels at the front of each tread. The shovel moves around, which is nice that kids can actually play around with this as a construction vehicle. It moves up and down and in and out. And it's actually a great looking bulldozer. Here he is with his G1 version. The original had some nice range with the shovel too, but the new one can flip up all the way and use it almost as an armor piece while charging into battle. He's a bit bigger than an Autobot car and about the same size as trucks like Hoist, but still smaller than Grapple. Bulldozers may not have the display value of a Lamborghini or Lancia Stratos, but they have the power to push some serious dirt. And BONECRUSHER can literally move mountains. Or giant boxes. And you can even recreate the scene from the cartoon where he causes a landslide to fall onto Hoist and Grapple.
They won't know what hit them. Landslide!
You might need to use bigger boulders. Okay, let's take him back to robot mode. First, let's pull the legs out and extend at the knees. And on the other side. Pull the feet apart. Let's pull the arms apart and swing the shoulders forward. And swing this piece up. What's up here? We have to collapse this first. And then it'll push in and snap that part in. Then we can pull the arms out and flip the shovel forward. And push this in. We don't want it too high or it'll cover part of his face. It has to be lowered a bit. Turn the arms forward. And now for the legs. We need to disconnect this part and swing it down. And same on the other side. And shift the leg up. And the hip. On both sides. And try to push these lower waist parts together as much as possible. Ouch! This part is especially tricky since it doesn't work the way it's supposed to. And still doesn't want to fit together. I thought maybe going through a transformation might get things to fit in place better, but it's not the case. So, it is what it is. You could try to fix it with some glue, but since I think I'd do more harm than good trying to fix this one, I think I'll just leave it alone. Maybe Perfect Effect will make some compression shorts to fix the issue. And the last thing I wanted to mention is this shovel has grooves here and tabs that go together. So you can secure it a bit in place so that it's not just loosely sitting on his chest. And that's Combiner Wars BONECRUSHER, one pushy Constructicon. Part 6 will be the final Constructicon, a con so big he needs 5 Constructicons to fist bump him long haul. And then it'll be on to the bigger guy. Thanks again to Joe for the request. If you'd like to join our awesome Patreon tribe for as little as just $1 a month, visit patreon.com/MichaelMercy. That's like less than the cost of an action figure a year. And it sure helps the channel too. Feel free to leave a comment below. Most of the people posting on here have been awesome with keeping it kid-friendly, but just a friendly reminder to those with saucier language. There are a lot of kids watching these videos, and I want them to be able to read the comments on these videos in addition to watching the videos. Profanity has a different effect on them than it does on adults, so let's keep it classy. Thanks for watching, feel free to share, and to join the tribe, hit subscribe. Nerdmaste!